The president of Keller Williams is out. The newly named, I say newly because he's only been there a year, the newly named president of KW is already out after just a year. Remember, Gary Keller stepped down from CEO several months ago, and Josh Team took the reins. But he never really changed the roles, but he was the president of KW. So to the excitement of many within the company who said he was the right tech forward focused and innovative individual to bring KW into the new era. But now we hear rumbles of promises that he made 6 years ago that were never kept. We hear rumbles deep from within KW who say he should have been fired because he never delivered. We also hear agents upset that Josh Team got his announcement out to the world first before Gary Keller got it to their agents, which is funny when you think about it, because you have the tech guy that was first to make the announcement on the tech and social platform,
right?
The big company that was slow to release the information, right? So that's kind of ironic. All right, so here's the statement from Josh. After weeks of thoughtful reflection, several conversations, and looking into the future, I've decided to move to the next opportunity from Keller Williams. In conversations with Gary, Carl, and Carl is the CEO of KW Holdings that owns everything that KW has going on. So in conversations with Gary, Carl, and the team, we all mutually agreed to plan where I'll be helping in the transition over the next couple of weeks. I'm grateful for everything that Keller Williams has given me and my family and all the relationships I've fostered. I can't wait to cheer for the red and white as a fan. So many at Keller Williams also complained that Team had just represented KW at the KW family reunion, and now a week later is out.
Right.
So many are asking, why is that the timing? Because he says in his release it was weeks of discussion, and then like, well, if you knew this, someone, I think someone that was upset about it wasn't with Keller Williams. I'm like, well, what's the matter to you? Like, you're not even with that company, right? So I have very little to say about it. I'm not with the company. It's just interesting as an industry. However, generally, if you're about to out someone as president, they probably wouldn't have such an active role at the conference, right? I mean, wouldn't you want to settle that beforehand and then at the conference announce the new direction and get going on the right foot? Or maybe they needed him to have
both, have the
this is the transition. Here's the old
have
guy,
the lame duck there and saying, hey, here's literally handing the torch over to the new one. Like, do a whole big thing, right?
Like a big celebration of we're taking the next step.
Yeah.
But I don't, maybe they didn't see it coming. So which is interesting.
Well, his statement is a little ambiguous. Because he's saying like, I've decided to move on to the next thing, but I've also agreed to help in the transition. So was he pushed out because he didn't do what he said, which I think you're going to get to?
Yeah. So let's see. Many are asking why the timing is so off. All right. So what did Team do? Under Team, Keller Williams has rolled out a completely revamped consumer-facing experience, including a new website and an app, and build a technology platform anchored by its artificial intelligence power consumer relationship management tool, Command, and Keller Cloud. And I wonder if he had part of Kelly. It's Kelly.
Oh, I remember Keller Cloud. That was their kind of answer to EXP.
Yeah, but there's also Keller, right? The Siri like thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So big question. Well, one of the people interviewed, and this most of this text comes from a couple of different Inman articles that have kind of merged into one amorphous thing here. But one of the things they talked about was the Inman news reporter texted a team lead and said, hey, any comments on Josh Team leaving? And the team leader responded with a laughing emoji and said, what, like he never, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like he never got the tech out that he promised 6 years ago. And so there's a bit of animosity towards him currently, which is interesting too. All right, so who's next? The next guy is Mark King. He was named the new president of Keller Williams. King has been with Keller Williams for more than 20 years, serving as a divisional leader with the franchisor, as well as operating principal of multiple Keller Williams market centers and an instruction with the company's coaching and training programs. So definitely a guy that's been there for the long haul. But if any of you are with Keller Williams listening, I'd love to hear what you think about the transition, how it happened, and if you have any thoughts on that. I know we have a couple of comments on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, and I'm curious about, because Team was more He did all those things that you just mentioned, but he was also tech facing. So is this dude that's been with the company for more than 20 years? He knows coaching, he knows the systems, he knows the process behind, he knows the tradition behind Keller Williams. But is he? I mean, I don't want to discourage or disparage the guy, but is he forward thinking like a tech guy would think? Which is we're in an ever evolving tech world right now.
Does he need to be? Because there's a lot of going back to the foundation. So Monica Laws, I missed the news. Gary Keller stepped down. He stepped up, actually. So they created KW Holding Company that now owns Keller Williams.
Yeah, he went to that.
KWX or KWI? I think it's KWX.
He went down and then back up, and now he's here.
Yeah. So he's kind of now leading it all more on the board than a direct CEO of just Keller Williams itself.
Yeah, and you call it's KWX, right?
KWX. I think that was the holding company name. Which sounds like maybe they're going to go public, but we'll see. All right, I do want to go back to Nico, who helped us test the audio for the Clubhouse integration. So I'll bring up Clubhouse. Nico, what do you think of this change up at Keller Williams, and where are you? Where do you work as a brokerage? Because that's apropos to this discussion in particular. But also, have you ever worked at KW? You got any experience with them? And tell me your thoughts.
Hey, buddy, how's it going? Can you give me, like, I know it's probably bad timing. Give me 2 more minutes. I'm just loading groceries into the truck. So give me 2 minutes and I'll jump right back on.
Nico's getting groceries, so we'll wait. I love that.
This is the work from home environment we live in.
Monica Law said, thanks, guys. Yeah, you're welcome. You should check out the show more often, Monica. You'd hear the news like that. All right, so if anybody's got any opinions on that, we'd love to hear it. We've both been agents at Keller Williams in the past. Dan, what do you think about this move? What do you think it means?
I mean, it's been forever. It's been 8 years since I was with Keller Williams. I was there until 2000, I guess till 2014 or 15. So maybe it was a little longer than that. So it's been about 6 years, but I didn't really ever feel the effects from having a CEO or not having a CEO, or have someone be the head of KWX or KW International. Like, for me, it was always just, how did they help me produce as an agent? How did they help me get better as an agent? Which I always liked. There was good relationships and good vibes in those office spaces. And there's always something to learn, always some sort of coaching or something going on. But having not been with them forever, I do not have the finger on the KW pulse, as it were. But what I would imagine, and it kind of goes along with my question earlier, is I feel like we live in a world where, as a real estate agent and company and brokerage, you have to be tech savvy. So where are they headed if this new guy isn't super tech savvy? Do they have a division that will help them stay at the cutting edge of technology? Because Gary always kind of says, like, no, we're doing a thing that's going to counteract this other company that's doing a thing. No, we have a thing. There's always that. So is this guy going to be able to handle that? And then also, kind of going back to what Teray said, why didn't they do the switch at Family Reunion, which is their big annual conference? And then why just after? And does it have anything to do with all the Zillow shakeup and what CoStar is doing? And by the way, there's an article, Redfin bought a rental, an online rental portal. So is it any of that? Were they missing out on that? Like, what really is going on here? That'd be my main concern. But as a CEO, like, as long as your company is still helping you produce as an agent, I don't know why you would care, really. I don't know.
Yeah. Why would you care who's at the top if they are helping you 100% of the time? And I think that, when I was there, I didn't really know if someone was CEO or if someone was president, or nothing really mattered like that to me. I mean, I was looking at the training materials and what I could learn. And this is interesting. So David Fresquez says they did the same thing to Chris Heller. So that's interesting. I do know that they didn't quite make their tech target. They were hoping to have a tech thing that would just kind of take over the industry, and they didn't really do that. They seemed a little bit reactionary in some of their steps. And if they're trying to be forward thinking and they want to put people in the right position to be first movers into things like that, they were not. But
if you have a was someone else trying to, I don't know if Clubhouse is up or not.
Yeah, I think we have Clubhouse up. Let me get to Nico. I think he's probably ready.
Yeah.
Surely it doesn't take him that long. I don't know how many groceries he had there. Hey,
Might be a
Nico,
lot.
what's going on, man?
Guys, gentlemen, I am sorry about that, but I had an improv, grocery run on the way to an appointment. So thank you for the embarrassment moment. But I've been with Keller Williams for about 3 years. I'm in the City Views Market Center, which is located right outside the George Washington Bridge in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And I'll tell you this: when Gary Keller was going through his visit speech, and he was there for about 2 hours. Or about an hour and a half. They're going with the vision. He brought up Zillow and all that stuff, which he kept a pretty good open mind of the conversation he had with Zillow, and the transparency. But when the announcement came up right after Family Reunion finished, my first immediate thought was this was because of Family Reunion. Something happened, and that's why Josh left. But then I read Josh's announcement before Gary's, which was it was, just one of those things. And I'm like, wait, you've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Isn't it the perfect opportunity during the vision speech of the company at the family reunion, the best time to say, hey, listen, Josh is going to be here during the transition, and then we're going to move on to the next guy. That is where I was upset as far as an operational piece. But, at the same time, on the inner thoughts of Keller Williams, is that things he said that he was going to do never happened. So,
yeah,
in my opinion, sorry about that. I was getting a phone call, but things that it was kind of overdue in my eyes. So I'm still kind of processing and thinking of what's going on. But my main impact is why wasn't it announced during family reunion, and that's why I'm kind of upset about.
Yeah, I think you echo a lot of the concerns that were covered in the article. I mean, almost verbatim with what they said in the article. Number one, why did Josh Team release his announcement first before KW could send a message to the agents? And number two, why did he even play a role at the family reunion if they had been in discussions with this a week? And why wasn't it announced during something like the vision where you're talking about where you're going? And I'm wondering, the vision is usually uploaded somewhere later online. And I've checked that out a couple of times. I know the slides at least are. And I'm wondering if you can go back now and listen to the vision speech and pick up any hints that were dropped during that may. So I'd be curious to know, Nico, I know y'all have that on the back end where you can rewatch that. But I would be curious to know if you could go back and watch that and see if you can go,
there's some really bad overdubs. Josh Team.
Right. During the vision speech, I felt some of that in the conversations that they were going back and forth. Where they were kind of like stepping on each other when they were talking. So I actually felt that while they were talking, but I just thought it was, all right, maybe they got into like kind of a disagreement, or the whole thing with all this is going on during that bad ice storm down in Texas. So I thought it was just kind of that played a part, and you can actually listen to the recording. So anyone who signed up for family reunion, those recordings are staying on the platform until April. So you can actually go back and listen to every ounce of information that family reunion had.
There you go. That's cool, man. Thanks for joining the show and giving us that insight from a Keller Williams agent. That's one of the reasons why I like Clubhouse. I've been in multiple rooms where someone's like, I really have a question about this program like Sisu or something like that. Like I've been looking at it and I'm kind of wondering about it. And then a guy jumps on stage and he's like, hey guys, I'm the COO of Sisu. Just thought I'd pop in and let you know a little bit about what we're doing. It's like the connections are incredible. So saying, hey guys, if you're at Keller Williams, let us know. And then Nico steps up. So I appreciate the additional information from the inside. And I think you are echoing what other agents in the company feel. Now, Keller Williams did announce that they took over about 10% of the market, which that's a pretty incredible number. And that's
the thing, though. Like if Team was the head of the company doing that, and all these forward moves in tech and Keller and all this stuff, right? Like, why would he be out? Like, what's really going on, Gary?
Well, from a couple of friends of mine who are Keller Williams agents, they are less impressed with the software created by them. So
I know, but really think about that, though.
That's been a hot topic discussion in the Clubhouse rooms too. Should a brokerage act like a tech company and try to develop their own platforms, or should they be experts at implementing third-party expert software? And that's kind of an ongoing debate, because you have a lot of these boutique firms that are like turning on a dime. Like, we're small. I don't develop my own software. I use what's already out there, but we use it incredibly well.
Right.
And those programs and software is better than anything I could develop, or better than another real estate company, in my opinion, could develop. So, but that's been a ongoing debate among that. So we'll leave that for another day. Dan, do you want to get into the next story?
No.
Let me go to Dusty then, who has a comment. She says, she says, I think who is at the top only has an effect on culture and effectiveness.
Yeah.
If the guy at the top is a jerk, don't expect to enjoy where you are, and vice versa. I think it has less to do if he can think like a tech guy, and more about if he hires the right tech guys to help guide his decisions. Yeah.
And maybe that's it. Maybe Josh Chima is a giant jerk. I don't know.
Yeah. You never know. Well, he's only there for a year as the president, so something happened.
Well, and KW is big on culture.
Let me plant something seedy though, just for the fun of it, right?
Yes.
So you have this guy that's CEO and owner of the company, and he feels like it's a little bit struggling and they're missing some marks. So what does he do? He removes himself, puts someone else there, and then fires him as if it was that guy's fault. That's funny. That's just a funny like tinfoil hat scenario for me. I don't
maybe it's tinfoil kitty ears. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.